Hi, I'm Jerry Ford and welcome to my studio. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to put all this quilting back and finish this wall hanging. If you watched the first video, and if you missed it, follow the link in the description box below and it'll take you back to the first video where I showed you how I put these blocks together. I'm going to show you how I ended up quilting the individual blocks. Now, one of my students, Tiesha, made these beautiful blocks for me. She got the design from Pat's Embroidery Studio off of Etsy, and she gave me the blocks as a gift. She didn't finish it, and that's okay. She did have trouble with one block, that it's a quilt as you go type process. And the problem is that this fell off of the hoop before she could put the background fill on there. And no matter what we did, we could not get this thing to line up for nothing. I took all of the stitching out. You can still see the impressions, but I took out all of the stippling from all of the blocks. I can't stipple exactly like it was done automated, so therefore I have my own style to it. So I'm going to put my own style on all the blocks. Okay, I have finished stitching in the ditch and now I've switched to the free motion foot because now everything is well stabilized. The batting is well secured. It's not going to pull apart now. And actually, stitching in the ditch is all you really need to do if you're going to leave the original quilting design in here and do it as a true quilt as you go type thing. You would actually be fine to just go ahead and just do the stitching in the ditch as you put your quilt sandwich together. You could just go ahead and bind it now. I'm going to start with each block. I'm going to do some ruler work in this section here and maybe in the sashing. I'm going to do echo quilting on these corners, and I think I might do a different free motion design in each of the blocks. I'm going to just outline the embroidery, and that'll make it pop out. That wasn't in the original design either, so I'm just going to go around the edges. You bring up your thread as normal. You bring up your bobbin thread, do a lock stitch, snip the ends off, or tie them through and knot them through if you like. And I'm just carefully outlining. Okay, and now I'm going to echo quilt it, which means I'm going to go around maybe around a few times and echo it out until I get to the border. I'll speed this up for you now. There. And I've quilted it all the way to the edge of the border. Okay, it highlights the buttons. Granted, this makes this rather rock hard. Two things. There's stabilizer in here, which makes it kind of stiff anyway. And the density of the quilting makes it stiff as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of those blocks, and I'll be back when I finish the four corners. Okay, so I finished the corners. So I think I'm going to do this block next, and it's kind of a busy block, so I don't want to put a lot of intricate quilting in here. I think this will be the one that I will do ordinary stippling through the yellow and then through the white, and then I'll come back into the yellow and maybe do some other little designs in between the hearts. I think that would be cute, but I'm doing all the white first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is outline the embroidery, and then I will go ahead and stipple around here. So I don't think you really want to watch all this. That's kind of boring, at least to watch. I'll be back as soon as I finish edging. Okay, I outlined this section. I've come to a part where I rather than break thread, I think I'll go into some stippling. Sometimes I like these Rubbermaid drawer liners instead of gloves. I can't stand gloves, but these grip really well. And so now I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit, and I'm going to do some, I tend to stipple rather small. Okay, I think I'll come down here, outline this E. And then come up here and outline the R. While I'm in the middle of this, I'm just going to break into a little bit of stippling in between. That way I don't have to come back. There. The inside of this R, I'll come back and do that later. Now the U. Okay, I'm going to continue on because when I outline around it, it really flattens the letters, and it does, wherever you've got some embroidery, it helps to pop it up. And I'm doing stippling a lot tighter than was originally designed. I'm doing it less than 1/4 of an inch apart and rather tightly stippled. Okay, so I'm going to be back and show you this block when I'm done. Okay, here is this one with the traditional stippling. Next, I'm going to do this block right here, and I think I'm going to do something called McTavishing. This was designed by Karen McTavish many years ago. It's based on the S curve that keeps echoing upon itself. It really gives a lot of movement to the background piece while it's a nice thick background fill. And just outlining at first. Okay, and so I'm going to do like an S. Come to the top and echo it down, but meeting at the very top where I started. Then I just back up towards a little section I just did and just do some fill-ins that are come around here. And then tie off. See right here? It goes, or I'll do this with the friction pen and you can see what it actually looks like. See, here's the original S right here, and you just echo it down, and then when you get as far as you want to go, I just back tacked up and when I went sideways. And I'm going to do this whole thing like that. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. And what I will do is I'll put a close-up at the end of this. That way you can blow them up and look at them as closely as you like to see the pattern. I'm doing loop-de-loos, which are just little E's, which is sort of the first things we learn how to do. They're little loop-de-loops or E's or L's or whatever. Going around the lettering. Some are big, some are little. Then I'm going to outline each letter as I come to it. Okay, I will return when I finish this block, and then we'll go on to the next one. Okay, and now for this last one, we're going to do, I call them like triple clamshells. They look like clamshells, but they're sort of same echoey type feeling as you get with the McTavishing, but instead they're going to be all semicircles. I've already outlined the outside, so I'm going to just pick a spot to start. Make a half circle, small, come out and make another one. This I'm going to make it touch all the way the other side, back tack a little bit, and go in another direction. Okay, so like here's one circle, one semicircle. Here's another one that didn't quite finish, but that's okay. Here's this one is a little more than a half. But you keep working your way around, and then you can put in some little filler spots right here. See, here's a circle, another one, and another one. And hopefully you can see those. I'll make them a little darker. And see, it's just based on half circles, and they just echo each other. See, that gives you lots of movement and fills space rather quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Next, I'm going to do the yellow sections. Okay, here's a close-up of the first block I did. And what I did here is I did echo quilting here on the top. And this is the second one I worked on, which was the loop-de-loops. So that was simple to do. The third one I did was McTavishing. And what I did here in the yellow is that I just outlined the buttons. And then I used the buttons as the spine for a feather. And lastly, I did the one with the 3 arcs. I still haven't pressed out these marks. And so that that's what that looks like. And then on the yellow, I don't know what I did, just a bunch of little teardrops here and there. We're going to do some ruler work, and since I cannot find my ruler foot to the other machine, I'm going to switch to the long arm, which always has a ruler foot on it. And I'm going to stitch the centers here. I'm going to use this to do circles down the middle. Off the edge quilting.com, and I'm going to be using just the circle. I've put on this one, I have put sandpaper dots to help grip the fabric, and then I'm going to do ribbon candy on the outer border, and I'm going to be using these. This one is by Amanda Murphy. It's called Ribbon Candy, and this one has got taped on little rectangles of rubberized drawer liner, and I've threaded up with black. This may be a little hard to see because of the colors. Here's my ruler. Oh, I need to lift it. I'll start in the down position. Hang on to that locking stitch, and then here we go. Always hold on with 2 hands. And I'm going around. I'm going to continue back around here. Get to the neutral position and slide the ruler along. So now I'm going to just go around. Okay, I'm going to continue on. I just let it follow it around. Okay, I'll be back when I finish doing this edge and this side too. Okay, it's all finished. I also used this ruler here, my straight edge ruler, to just do a straight line up and down. That's going to just help reinforce that batting inside there a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to use the ribbon candy, and I'm using the 2.5 inch one because my border's 3 inches wide. So I want it a little smaller. These are so easy to use, and it's a nice way to make friends with your free motion quilting, and it helps to guide you along the way. I'm just starting on the edge, and it has these reference lines right here. So I'm going to put this line right here at the top. So I'm going to hold on to it with 2 hands. Come up and just start. It works just like the circle. Let it stop, advance it, still keeping this line right here. It's a nice, fast way to get borders done. This is my favorite border. I know you really can't see it from the front very well. This one is done. It's hard to see because it's black on black, but I'm more interested in the structure. and it's good practice. You can never get enough free motion practice in. You can go in any direction. And I will end it right there. Okay, and trim off. And that looks good. And here's what you might be able to see it a little better from the other side. I'm not sure if you can see this very well. There's a darker spot. You may be able to see the white thread. See, that's what it looks like from the back. But what I like about it is it's fast, it's easy. Biggest problem I have with it, as you can see from my stitches in the back, is that I go too much in a hurry and end up with bigger stitches, but this is just for me and my wall hanging, so it's fine. Okay, so this is all done. It's ready to square up and bind. I'm going to do red binding, but I'm going to cut my binding 2 inches in order to get a 1/4 inch finished binding. So I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, here it is all finished. So I have used 2-inch binding to make a 1/4 inch bind on the end of the quilt. So it's been bound, it's been sewed. I even put a hanging sleeve on the top edge of it so that I can hang it up on the wall. And it's ready to be put up. This is the block that had the problems, and it had some stippling all around it, and I took it out. So this is how I handled this one. So here's the before, and here is the finished block. Okay, the next one I did was the sewing machine. Here it is finished. Here is what it looked like before. And so now I did this one with, the first one I did was regular stippling. This one I did with little E patterns. This one I did a technique called McTavishing on the right. And I did just a ordinary feather on the left hand side. And this is what it looked like before. And this is the finished block. On this block, I did little improvised feathers in the yellow section below, and I did little, I don't know what you call them, sort of just half circles, echoed half circles on the white section. And here's what it looked like before, and here's what it looks like now. Okay, now the cornerstones. This is a cornerstone, and it had just a little bit of stippling on the outside, and I removed all that. And this I did echo quilting, which is just going round and round. So here's what it looked like before, and here's what it looks like now that I've finished it. In the sashing, you really can't see this, but in the sashing in the center section here, right in the middle, top, in the sides, I did circles. I did little circles in the middle using my ruler, a circle ruler, and then I used a straight ruler to just do a straight line up and down. That could also be done with a walking foot. And on the 4 borders, I did something called ribbon candy using an Amanda Murphy ruler. Here's a small section in the center, right here, that shows what I did in the sashing, and you can see the circles, and you can see the lines going up and down on either side of the sashing. It's easier to see on this dark on the back. And then on this section, which is a border, you can see on the back the ribbon candy motif, and so that shows you what it looks like on the back. And the last thing I did was I put a hanging sleeve, it's hard to see it, on the back, so to make it easier to hang up. And of course, then I did my binding. Okay, if you like this project, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can let you know when I upload a new video. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, send me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I will see you next time.